Let's start with your first set of hints. This girl likes going to the beach, acai bowls, and Bob Marley music. Who is she? Coastal granddaughter. Incorrect. Me if I was a girl. Incorrect. Also, I am not seeing enough jewelry over there for that to be right. Am I right, everyone? Yeah, the answer is actually Tropical Glowing Jellyfish Beauty Island Hibiscus Gal. Sorry about that. It was a little bit of a hard one. It's in right now, okay? Okay, for our next round, we're gonna present a vintage artifact, and you're gonna have to call upon some past memory to assign a persona that might be a little outdated. So, just some girl history that's about to happen, okay? Alternative golf pop princess. That hurt me. Did it hurt you? Did it resonate with you? Have you been personally victimized by the search for that girl? Well, you're not alone. If it did. Over 90% of the teens I surveyed online in my local area reported that they were familiar with the term aesthetic. And over 50% of those teens also claimed that they aim to have an aesthetic of some kind. But what's an aesthetic? The Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy defines an aesthetic as a way to designate and label certain objects, values, and art. But that's not exactly the aesthetic I think of. The idea of an aesthetic, at least in the realm of the internet, has been within my awareness since the kind of Tumblr grunge era, but it really became a thing for me around 2020 when I was constantly on my phone. And I think the need to put yourself in an aestheticized box was kind of a similar pressing issue that everyone was experiencing in 2020 because of how much we were on our phones. It's the idea that my persona, fits into a certain vibe based on my clothing, my music taste, the body I have, the food I eat, the parties that I go to, the people I hang out with, and that I mention the music I listen to. Yeah, actually, I'd like to argue that we've been doing that forever. I mean, like Breakfast Club, High School Musical, like we've always been dumbing down people to their vibe. In all honesty, there is not a lot of nuance left when it comes to talking about aesthetics and the internet. We all understand that social media and phones are constantly trying to sell us the next best thing that'll make us the next hottest girl. That's not exactly what I'm concerned with. I actually want to talk about the nitty-gritty of how does what we consume online influence who we are becoming, influence our core sense of self. My question is, how do people report their sense of self being influenced by the media they've consumed through a digital means, and how has this led them to present and connect themselves to others? Philosophers David Hume and John Locke clue us in on what I mean by identity here. Locke claims that we are a combination of our memories, and the continuous creation of our memories is our conscious. The past is as real as the present. Hume counters Locke and believes that we are constantly perceiving and changing, that we are more rooted in our present than our memory. Because these takes are a little bit complicated to digest, and because I'm not the philosophy expert, nor have I read everything Locke and Hume have ever written, I'll tell you exactly what you need to know to understand what I'm trying to talk about today. We are a mosaic of our experiences, and that is something that Locke and Hume agree upon. From birth, we perceive, compare, digest, all in an effort to confirm the fact that we actually exist, that we have left the womb, and our choices and our reactions can't exist without our past experiences. And by that logic, I wanted to examine what it means to experience a piece of media, especially those born digital. As I scroll and scroll, am I evolving? Is this adjacent to my day-to-day affairs that are supposed to grow me as a person? And there's a term for this experience, outside influences being a conduit for our evolution, and it's social identity. Social identity is our understanding of self and our place in the world. It is who we are when we're surrounded by people, and it's influenced by those specific people. What kind of person are we when we belong? I'm a part of this friend group. I'm a Gen Zer. Individual identity is how we define ourselves alone. I am blonde. I am an active person. Cornell University also says there's a place identity, identity related to memories, ideas, attitudes, and feelings about a physical setting, and interactions that occur in that setting. So if social media is the place and we are constantly surrounded by other people there has to be some kind of personal influence and shaping that is happening. Even further, our experiences online can affect our real-life social interactions. Your makeup is so Lana Del Rey vinyl. People, especially young adults and teenagers, have become extremely reliant on internet vernacular for day-to-day interactions. It's gotten to the point where when you say that you want someone to match your humor or have the same sense of humor as you actually just mean that you want them to have consumed the same level of internet brain rot as you. And we're pretty aware of this. It's actually not a new phenomenon at all. A 30-second Super Bowl ad can cost more than $7 million. Why? Because everyone is watching. We want to be in the in-group. We want to be able to talk about Puppy Monkey Baby the next day. We want to be able to talk about what that blonde actress was wearing. We want to connect with others. But there's so much to consume now, and it isn't all on the shared TV. It's in your individual hand. The people who watch that one niche anime that you like might be few and far between, but you want to meet them. Your next romantic partner better have the same taste in intellectual indie folk music lined up on their Spotify. Our tastes in media matter more than ever as we try to construct the ultimate persona.
Being cool girl means I'm a hot, brilliant, funny woman who adores football, poker, dirty jokes, and burping.
There is an idea of Patrick Bateman, some kind of abstraction, but there's no. From Gone Girl to American Psycho, putting yourself in a kind of box and wearing a kind of mask in order to connect with others is not a new thing. It's a human thing. But where does this identity dissonance come from? W.E.B. Du Bois details his understanding of a, quote, double consciousness, the sense that we are constantly watching ourselves through the lives of others. We want our sense of self and the person we are seen as externally to line up. But what happens when we constantly curate that external sense of self on and offline? Does it eliminate sense of self entirely? I'd rather argue the opposite. I think as we constantly scroll through this algorithmic echo chamber of content that we relate to, are already interested in, and it's people we already agree with, our sense of self is constantly being solidified as we think, that's me, that's me, that's me. Even if it's a superficial curation that's being confirmed through the constant comparison, it's still a sense of security and a sense of understanding myself as I constantly compare. Even with the research I've done, the claims I've made, and some pretty linear ideas about identity formation and media's influence, I went one step further and conducted an experiment. I took around 30 of my friends and split them into two groups, a control group that kept using social media regularly, and an experimental group that was removed from social media completely for 2 weeks. Everything was consensual, and these are some of the responses I got upon surveying both groups with a pretty similar set of questions. I didn't even know what clothes to wear. I don't want to delete it. It's how I keep contact. I actually had to find like books to read without TikTok. How am I supposed to find music? I definitely had some FOMO. I took these pics in like the city over the weekend though, and I looked really cute. So how am I gonna post those? I actually talked to my friends. Yeah, but I need my workout routine. I literally sat there and was trying to recall nutritional advice that I'd seen on Instagram, like chia pudding recipe. My favorite of the responses from this experiment is from someone in the experimental group, and it's as follows. I'd see figures on social media, fictional or real, and for a small amount of time become obsessed with embodying them in some way. Now that I'm almost completely shut out from seeing these things, I've kind of had to deal with myself and confront making an authentic aesthetic, if that's even a thing. Be yourself. Be who you are. Be that girl. Cool girl. Pretty girl. Old money boy. NYC chic. Goth prep jock. Dream girl. Ramona Flowers. Stepping into my feminine divine. Do I have to be someone? The identity void you might feel isn't social media's fault. It's an inherently human thing. I think that we're made to compare. I think we're made of our surroundings. We're made of our experiences. How could we deny wanting to be part of the in-group? How could we deny wanting to connect and wanting to change? We're consuming more than ever, comparing more than ever. With so many pieces being added to this mosaic, we're bound to grow larger. The picture is going to change. I didn't make this video and do all this research to convince you to delete social media or to demonize influencers and Instagram more than they already are. I just wanted to know more about myself. How did I get to this point? Why do I constantly want to project a certain persona that is a reflection of everything I've consumed? And it's because showing off what I've consumed is the number one way to connect with people right now, because of how much we are consuming. This isn't a word of warning to stop scrolling and stop watching, because even if you stop doing those things, you're going to find other things to absorb. It's this absorption that keeps us connecting with others. But by understanding that about yourself, you can be critical of what you choose to absorb and how you choose to connect. And by understanding that about yourself, you can have more meaningful connections and just a grounded, secure sense of who you are. Right now, it seems absolutely impossible to do that, especially for me. I'm still guilty of sitting here and thinking, wow, am I Lana Del Rey vinyl enough? But we are going to get there, and I was happy to actually learn something these past couple months. Thank you so much.